Marcus stepped out of the small shuttle onto the polished floor of the luxury showroom. The place smelled of new metal, clean oil, and advanced electronics. Bright lights reflected off the surface of the sleek hover cars lined up like jewels. He had never been in a place like this before. The colony he lived in was small, with cramped rooms and dusty streets. Here, everything was shiny, expensive, and made to show power. Marcus felt a small shiver of excitement. He had dreamed of working with advanced vehicles for years, studying every machine he could find, repairing broken engines and improving small AI systems. But this was the first time he would face the real challenge. At the center of the showroom stood the most expensive hover car anyone had ever seen. It looked like a Ferrari, but it hovered instead of rolling. Its surface was a deep, shining red, and it seemed to glow slightly under the lights. Marcus's eyes widened. The vehicle was beautiful, but he immediately noticed the signs of damage. The engine casing was scratched, some circuits were exposed, and the AI interface flashed red warnings. Anyone else might have thought it ruined, but Marcus only saw opportunity. The CEO of the company, a tall man with perfectly tailored clothes and a smug smile, noticed Marcus. He stepped forward, his shoes clicking on the polished floor. "Ah, who do we have here?" he asked. His voice carried easily across the room, drawing attention. Marcus stayed silent, his calm face hiding the storm of thoughts in his mind. The CEO laughed softly, almost cruelly. "You want to touch my precious hover car?" He looked Marcus up and down, the smile turning sharper. "I'll make you a deal. The car is yours, if you can fix it. But let's be honest, I don't think you can." A ripple of laughter ran through the crowd. Employees, other engineers, and curious visitors all stared at Marcus. Some shook their heads, already writing him off. Marcus didn't respond. He only walked slowly toward the hover car, his eyes examining every detail. The crowd expected him to falter. They expected doubt, hesitation, or defeat. Marcus crouched beside the vehicle and touched the exposed circuits. The AI system's warning lights reflected in his dark eyes. He could feel the small electrical currents under his fingers. He noticed that the main energy core had a weak connection, which was likely causing the AI to misfire. The engines were damaged not from impact, but from a poor maintenance schedule. Every problem was logical. Every flaw had a solution. The CEO raised an eyebrow. "You're just looking at it, huh? Don't touch anything. You might make it worse." His voice was full of mockery. Marcus did not look at him. He ignored the laughter, ignoring the sneers, ignoring the doubt. He only focused on what he could do. He knew he could fix it. But it was not only about fixing. The hover car needed improvement. Marcus had ideas that no one in the room could imagine. He could rebuild the AI interface to learn faster, repair the engines to give more power without more fuel, and even improve the hover system for better control. But he would have to do it carefully. One mistake, and the opportunity would vanish. Marcus straightened up and studied the hover car from every angle. The crowd whispered among themselves. Many could not believe a man from the colony wearing simple clothes and no wealth was even allowed near the CEO's prized creation. Some shook their heads in doubt, some smirked at what they thought would be his failure. The CEO clapped his hands, enjoying the attention. "Well, let's see if you are clever enough. You have 1 week. 1 week to make this car work again. If you succeed, it is yours. But if you fail, remember, you will never step foot in this showroom again." He laughed, enjoying the drama. Marcus nodded silently. He did not need to speak. He already knew the challenge. The real test would not be the car itself, but showing everyone the power of human skill and determination. Back on his shuttle, Marcus prepared to leave. The city outside the showroom was crowded and noisy, but in his mind, he already worked. He imagined the repairs, the AI interface, the engines, the hover system. Every step was planned. He made notes on the small tablet he carried, drawing diagrams and calculating energy flow, circuits, and algorithms. Arriving at his small workshop on the colony, Marcus opened the door and looked around. It was modest, filled with parts, tools, wires, and old machines he had repaired over the years. But it was his sanctuary. Every part had a purpose, every tool was familiar, and every machine had a lesson. Marcus loved these objects more than the shiny hover cars in the showroom. Here, he could think, experiment, and create. He pulled the shuttle's data link from his tablet. Images of the damaged hovercar filled the screen. He zoomed in on the engine casing, the exposed circuits, the AI interface. He ran simulations in his mind and on the computer. Every problem had a pattern, and every pattern had a solution. Marcus smiled. This was not just repair. This was opportunity to show that human intelligence, creativity, and determination could overcome arrogance and doubt. Hours passed. Marcus worked late into the night. He disassembled the AI interface carefully, repairing tiny circuits and cleaning microchips. He analyzed the engine's fuel flow and power distribution, designing modifications to make it faster and more efficient. He tested small prototypes of hover technology on miniature models, improving stability and control. Every step took patience. Every step required concentration. Outside the colony slept, unaware that one of its brightest minds was preparing to challenge the world. Marcus paused only to drink water or jot notes. He did not feel tired. His mind was alive, flowing with ideas and plans. By dawn, Marcus had repaired several systems of the hovercar on his computer, simulating improvements and redesigns. He had no fancy materials, no top-tier factory, no luxury tools, only his knowledge, skill, and determination. Yet he felt confident. He knew that what he could create was stronger than arrogance and doubt. Meanwhile, in the showroom, the CEO made a few calls, mocking Marcus to his friends. He doesn't even have the right tools or experience, he said. There is no way he will succeed. He leaned back in his chair, smiling at the thought of watching failure. But he did not know that Marcus's mind worked faster than any simulation he could buy. Marcus packed his own tools carefully. Simple instruments, wires, and small AI chips, everything was ready. Tomorrow, he would begin the physical work. Today was only planning. He walked outside, looked at the rising sun over the colony, and took a deep breath. He felt calm and ready. He knew the world would watch, and soon they would all learn that skill, intelligence, perseverance were the real power. He closed his eyes for a moment. 1 week. That was all he needed. 1 week to turn doubt into proof, to show that talent and determination could overcome arrogance and wealth. Marcus smiled slightly. He knew it would not be easy. The hovercar was complex, and the CEO's expectations were high. But he also knew something the CEO could never understand. Human ingenuity was limitless when paired with determination. With that thought, Marcus returned to his workshop. He looked at the tools, the circuits, and the tiny AI modules scattered on the table. The challenge had begun. And in the quiet of the colony, a man with skill, patience, and determination, prepared to show the universe what humanity could achieve when it refused to be underestimated. Marcus woke early the next day, sunlight spilling across the walls of his small workshop. He did not need much sleep. His mind was alive with ideas, each one turning into a plan for the hovercar. He had studied advanced vehicles all his life, but this challenge was different. This was not just repair work. It was a chance to show what human skill and intelligence could achieve when combined with determination. The colony outside was quiet in the morning. Marcus ignored the hum of the streets and focused on the task ahead. He had brought the hovercar's diagnostic data with him. On his screen, red warnings blinked, showing faults in the AI engine and hover systems. Every system was interconnected, and a single mistake could ruin his work. Marcus didn't flinch. He knew he had to think like the machine, and also like a human. He started with the engines. The main propulsion unit had been damaged in several small ways, probably from neglect and improper repairs. The fuel conduits were clogged, and some wires were frayed. Marcus carefully disassembled the engine using simple tools, his fingers moving with precision. Every screw, every circuit, every tiny component was examined. He cleaned the parts, replaced worn wires, and reinforced weak connections. He did not have access to advanced factory tools, but he had creativity. Using small parts from old vehicles on the colony, he rebuilt sections of the engine to work more efficiently than before. While he worked, Marcus thought about energy distribution. The original design wasted too much power, sending energy to less important systems while leaving the AI underpowered. He rerouted energy channels to maximize efficiency, ensuring that the AI would receive the exact power it needed. He drew diagrams on his tablet, checking his calculations repeatedly. Human intuition allowed him to see solutions that standard programming could not. Next, Marcus turned to the hover system. Small stabilizers controlled the balance of the vehicle. Some of them were damaged, while others were misaligned. He adjusted each one carefully, using measurements he had taken from previous hover experiments. He tested miniature versions first, ensuring that the modifications would not destabilize the vehicle. Marcus smiled quietly to himself. Every mistake he avoided made the machine stronger. Every careful adjustment brought the hovercar closer to perfection. Then came the AI system. It was the most challenging part. The interface was outdated, designed for simple commands, and it struggled to process complex maneuvers. Marcus removed the old chips and replaced them with improved modules he had designed himself. He rewrote code line by line, testing each function. The AI learned quickly, adapting to changes in the environment and predicting pilot behavior. Marcus was not just repairing the system, he was teaching it to think in ways no machine had done before. Hours turned into the afternoon. Marcus paused only to eat and drink. His focus was unbroken. He ran simulations on the hovercar's controls, making small adjustments, noting every detail. The engines now responded faster, the AI calculated routes more efficiently, and the hover stabilizers corrected even sudden shifts. Marcus tested every system individually, then together. Each test showed improvement. Each success increased his confidence. He knew that his biggest advantage was human creativity. Machines followed rules, but humans could see patterns and connections that machines could not. Marcus combined old and new technology, repurposing materials in ways that engineers in the showroom would never consider. He built small adapters to connect incompatible circuits, used recycled fuel conduits to improve flow, and designed algorithms that learned from each test. By evening, the hovercar's core systems were functioning better than the original design. But Marcus did not stop there. He considered safety and performance. Hovercars often struggled in sharp turns or during rapid acceleration. He added stabilizing algorithms to the AI, ensuring that the vehicle would remain stable at high speeds. He improved cooling systems for the engines, preventing overheating even under extreme conditions. Marcus understood that intelligence was not just about speed, it was about reliability and endurance. The small workshop was cluttered with parts and tools, but Marcus thrived in the chaos. He moved quickly, assembling components, testing systems, and making adjustments. Every action was deliberate. Every decision was backed by knowledge and experience. He thought about the showroom and the CEO's mocking words. That arrogance did not bother him. It only fueled his determination. He wanted to prove that skill, dedication, intelligence mattered more than wealth or status. Night came, but Marcus kept working. He ran simulations of obstacle courses, testing how the hovercar would respond to sudden turns, jumps, and unexpected interference. He adjusted the AI so it could make quick decisions faster than any human pilot might expect. The vehicle learned from each simulation, adapting its responses. Marcus smiled. The hovercar was no longer just repaired, it was upgraded. It was smarter, faster, and stronger than anyone in the showroom could imagine. By late night, Marcus stepped back and looked at his work. The hovercar was partially disassembled, but each repaired component was ready to be reinstalled. He could almost see it in his mind, hovering, accelerating, and responding perfectly to the pilot's commands. He knew that tomorrow, when he reassembled the vehicle, the final test would be a demonstration not just of repair, but of human innovation. Marcus paused to think about the CEO. That man had mocked him publicly, assuming that he could never succeed. Marcus understood arrogance, but he also understood human potential. He had seen the skills of his fellow colonists, the intelligence hidden in small workshops, the creativity born from necessity. He knew that determination and skill could outmatch wealth and authority. The night was quiet. The colony asleep, but Marcus's mind remained active. He planned the next day's work carefully, ensuring that each step of reassembly would go smoothly. He organized components, labeled circuits, and prepared his tools. Every detail mattered. Marcus understood that excellence came from patience, focus, and precision. Before sleep, he reviewed his progress. The engines were repaired and improved. The hover stabilizers were aligned. The AI system was rewritten, smarter and faster than before. He had tested each system, made adjustments, and anticipated problems. Marcus knew that he was ready for the next stage, combining all the systems and preparing for the ultimate test. As he lay down briefly, Marcus felt a sense of calm. He had turned the challenge into opportunity. He had taken what others saw as impossible and made it achievable. He knew that when the hover car was ready, the CEO and the audience would witness not just repair, but human ingenuity. Marcus smiled. Tomorrow would be the beginning of a new chapter, one where determination, intelligence, and creativity would shine. The next morning, Marcus returned to work with renewed energy. He carefully began assembling the repaired components, testing connections as he went. The engine started smoothly, responding to commands with precision. The hover stabilizers adjusted automatically, keeping the vehicle perfectly balanced. The AI learned from each test, improving reaction time and anticipating movements. Marcus watched with satisfaction. Each improvement was a victory. Word of his work began to spread through the colony. Some of the other engineers visited Marcus's workshop quietly, curious about his progress. They observed the careful methods, the innovative solutions, and the creative use of available materials. Marcus did not boast. He only demonstrated the power of focus, skill, and human intelligence. People began to see that talent was not defined by wealth, background, or recognition, but by effort, knowledge, and creativity. By evening, the hover car was nearly complete. Marcus ran final checks, ensuring that every system worked together seamlessly. He tested the engines, the hover stabilizers, and the AI interface. Everything functioned perfectly. He could feel the energy of the vehicle, the potential for speed, precision, and adaptability. Marcus knew that tomorrow he would bring the hover car to the showroom and demonstrate what human skill could achieve. He paused one last time, looking at the finished vehicle. It gleamed under the workshop lights, more powerful and intelligent than it had ever been. Marcus felt pride, not in ownership, but in accomplishment. He had faced doubt, arrogance, and challenge, and had turned them into success through skill, creativity, and determination. Marcus knew the real test was coming. The CEO, the audience, the showroom would soon see the result of his work, but he felt ready. Human ingenuity had guided every step, patience had shaped every adjustment, and determination had driven every action. The hover car was no longer just a machine, it was proof that talent, effort, and intelligence could overcome any obstacle. With that thought, Marcus prepared to leave the workshop. Tomorrow, the hover car would return to the showroom, repaired and upgraded. The CEO's mocking words would meet the power of human skill. The audience would witness something beyond expectation. Marcus smiled, knowing that the work of a lifetime, the creativity of a mind determined to succeed, and the power of human ingenuity were about to shine. The next morning, Marcus carefully loaded the hover car into his small shuttle. The engines purred quietly, a sound of power and precision that filled him with confidence. Today, the challenge would begin in the showroom. He had repaired and improved the vehicle. Every system had been tested, every circuit checked. The hover car was ready to prove that human skill and determination could achieve what no arrogance could predict as the shuttle descended toward the city. The crowd in the showroom had already begun to gather. News of Marcus's progress had spread quietly, and whispers of curiosity mixed with skepticism filled the air. The CEO stood at the center of the room, looking confident, his smug smile in place. "I hope you're ready for disappointment," he said aloud. "1 week, and this man thinks he can repair my prized hover car. We will see how much he really knows." Marcus walked through the showroom doors, calm and composed. The crowd turned to watch him. Some eyes were filled with doubt, some with curiosity. Marcus ignored them all. He approached the hover car and crouched to examine it once more. Everything was ready. He began reconnecting the systems carefully, placing each component with precision. His fingers moved confidently over circuits, engines, and stabilizers. As if guided by the memory of all the machines he had repaired before, the CEO leaned forward, speaking loudly so the audience could hear. "Remember, everyone, this man comes from a small colony. He does not have advanced tools or training. Let's watch how easily he fails." Laughter spread through the room. Marcus ignored it. He knew that skill, intelligence, and determination were stronger than mockery and arrogance. The first step was to start the engines. Marcus checked the fuel flow, the circuits, and the connections. The engine core hummed to life. It responded smoothly, faster, and more efficiently than the original design. The audience murmured in surprise. Marcus had anticipated this reaction. He stood, his calm eyes scanning the vehicle. Next, he activated the AI system. The interface lit up, running diagnostics, and then adapting quickly to its environment. The AI began predicting movement, adjusting energy flow, and analyzing the hover stabilizers in real time. The crowd gasped. They had expected flickering lights, faulty systems, or smoke. Instead, the hover car responded intelligently, as if it were alive. The CEO's confident smile faltered slightly. He whispered to an assistant, "This is not possible. How could he repair it so quickly and make it better than before?" The assistant shrugged, equally astonished. Marcus did not look at them. He focused on the hover car, feeling the energy flowing through every system. Every circuit responding to his work, Marcus decided it was time for the demonstration. He pressed the activation switch for the hover car's full system. Lights on the vehicle brightened, engines hummed with controlled power, and the stabilizers adjusted automatically. He stepped back, allowing the audience to see the machine fully operational. A hush fell over the room. The CEO's mockery was gone, replaced by disbelief. Marcus stepped closer, tapping the interface. The AI responded instantly, performing small maneuvers with perfect precision. The hover car hovered slightly above the ground, balanced effortlessly, its engines quiet but strong. It moved smoothly, faster than any standard model in the showroom. The crowd began whispering among themselves. Some were impressed, some astonished. Marcus knew the next step was critical. He had to show that his work was not only repair, but improvement. He initiated the speed test. The hover car accelerated in a straight line, its engines producing more power without losing stability. The audience gasped again. The CEO's jaw tightened. "Impossible," he muttered. "It cannot be this efficient." Marcus ignored him. He activated a series of maneuvers, including sharp turns, sudden stops, and vertical lifts. The hover car responded perfectly, stabilizers adjusting automatically, AI predicting every movement. The audience could not believe their eyes. The vehicle moved with precision, speed, and intelligence that no original design could match. Marcus then performed the most daring test, obstacle navigation. He set a small course of floating barriers in the showroom. The hover car twisted, turned, and weaved through the obstacles flawlessly. Each maneuver was smooth, controlled, and perfectly calculated. The crowd erupted into applause. They had expected failure, but instead they witnessed mastery. The CEO's face had changed. Pride and confidence had vanished, replaced by shock and disbelief. He whispered to himself. He improved it. No one has ever done this before. Marcus remained calm. He did not need the CEO's approval. The demonstration was for everyone else, showing that skill, patience, and creativity could overcome doubt. Marcus paused the hover car and stepped out. He looked at the audience, letting them take in what they had just seen. The hover car was not just repaired. It was stronger, faster, and smarter than anyone could have imagined. The engines, stabilizers, and AI had been upgraded by human intelligence, proving that talent and determination mattered more than arrogance or wealth. He then returned to the controls, activating a final feature he had designed. The hover car began scanning the showroom, detecting weak points in the structure and potential hazards. Its AI calculated optimal responses to each situation, automatically adjusting energy distribution and stabilizers. The audience watched, amazed at how the machine seemed to think, adapt, and respond. Some engineers in the audience whispered to each other, impressed. "I've never seen AI respond this way," one said. "He didn't just repair it. He taught it to think." Marcus smiled quietly. That was exactly what he had done. He had taken a machine that was once broken and turned it into a tool that reflected human creativity and intelligence. The CEO tried to regain composure. This is extraordinary," he said, his voice shaky. How did you accomplish this?" Marcus looked at him calmly. "Skill, determination, and human creativity," he said simply. "Anyone can follow instructions, but thinking, understanding, and improving, that is what makes the difference." The audience began to cheer, clapping for Marcus and the hover car. They had expected humiliation and failure, but instead they witnessed excellence. Marcus's calm demeanor, careful planning, and innovative work had turned doubt into admiration. The CEO's arrogance had been exposed. Mockery could not defeat talent, intelligence, and perseverance. Marcus then stopped the hover car and stepped away. The engines powered down smoothly, stabilizers settling automatically. The AI displayed a message on the interface, ready for further commands. Marcus nodded to the machine, proud of what it could achieve. The audience erupted into applause again, louder this time, recognizing not only the hover car, but the genius behind it. Some members of the crowd approached Marcus, curious to learn more about his methods. He answered patiently, explaining principles without arrogance, sharing insight into human ingenuity and problem-solving. People were inspired. They realized that intelligence and skill were not determined by wealth or status, but by effort, learning, and creativity. The CEO, still standing at the center, watched in silence. Marcus had done what no one expected. The vehicle was repaired, upgraded, and tested under pressure. Every move demonstrated that human skill could surpass doubt and arrogance. The CEO had been proven wrong, and the evidence was clear for everyone to see. Finally, Marcus turned to the hover car one last time. He had achieved what he had set out to do. The vehicle was not just functional. It was better than anyone had imagined. He had combined knowledge, skill, and creativity to show the world that human ingenuity could overcome any challenge. The audience continued to applaud. The CEO approached Marcus, his expression humbled and serious. "You have done the impossible," he said. "I underestimated you, and I was wrong. You have my respect." The work had not been for recognition, but for the demonstration of what humans could achieve when determination met skill. Marcus had completed the demonstration. The hover car floated quietly, engines humming, AI ready. The challenge had been met. Doubt and mockery had been turned into admiration and respect. Human ingenuity had triumphed. The CEO had learned a lesson he would never forget. Skill, intelligence, and determination could not be bought or mocked. They had to be earned, and when they were, they could surpass any expectation. As the crowd slowly dispersed, Marcus stepped outside, feeling the evening air on his face. He looked at the stars rising above the colony and smiled. Today had been a victory, not only for himself, but for every human who ever faced doubt or mockery. Human ingenuity had proven its power once again. Marcus knew that this was only the beginning. The hover car remained in the showroom. It's a symbol of what human skill and creativity could achieve. Marcus had taken a challenge that others dismissed and turned it into proof of human excellence. In the quiet of the evening, he reflected on the work he had done. The engines, AI, and stabilizers were perfect. Every system worked in harmony. The hover car was ready for anything. Marcus had not only repaired a machine, he had transformed it into a living example of human potential. The CEO, humbled, could only watch as the audience whispered in awe. The challenge had been met. The impossible had been achieved. Marcus had shown that no arrogance, mockery, or doubt could stand against determination, skill, and creativity. The morning sun bathed the colony in golden light as Marcus prepared for the next stage of the challenge. The hovercar, now fully repaired and upgraded, rested in the showroom, gleaming like a star. Today, he would take it out for tests that went beyond simple repairs. He planned daring maneuvers and complex obstacle courses to show that human ingenuity could transform a machine into something extraordinary. The crowd had gathered once more, eager to see what Marcus would do next. News of his previous success had spread across the colony, drawing engineers, students, and curious spectators. They whispered among themselves, some excited, some still doubtful. The CEO stood at the center, his expression serious and cautious. He had learned not to underestimate Marcus, but he had not yet seen the full extent of human ingenuity at work. Marcus walked confidently to the hovercar. He ran final checks on the engines, hover stabilizers, and AI system. Each component responded perfectly. The AI adapted to his touch and voice commands instantly, ready to execute complex maneuvers. Marcus smiled quietly. He knew that human skill and careful planning had turned a damaged vehicle into something far beyond its original design. The first demonstration was a high-speed test. Marcus accelerated the hovercar along the showroom track. The engines roared with controlled power, and the stabilizers kept the vehicle perfectly balanced. He maneuvered around tight turns, accelerated through straight stretches, and executed sudden stops with precision. The AI predicted every movement and adjusted automatically, making the hovercar respond as if it were an extension of Marcus himself. The audience gasped and cheered. They had seen a damaged vehicle restored, but now they witnessed transformation. Marcus was not just repairing, he was enhancing. Every move showcased human creativity and intelligence. Engineers in the crowd whispered to each other, impressed by his skill. The CEO's expression had changed. Pride had been replaced by respect, though he still maintained his composed demeanor. Next, Marcus activated the hovercar's obstacle navigation mode. He had set up a course with floating barriers, narrow gaps, and moving obstacles. The AI calculated the optimal path, and Marcus guided the vehicle through the course with precision. The hovercar twisted, turned, and hovered effortlessly, avoiding collisions while maintaining maximum speed. The crowd erupted in applause once again. Marcus's next test was more daring. He would demonstrate adaptive maneuver scenarios the AI had not seen before. He simulated sudden obstacles and environmental challenges. The hovercar adjusted instantly, predicting movement and modifying energy flow and stabilizers to maintain balance. It performed flawlessly. Every twist, turn, and lift was executed with perfect precision. The audience stared in awe, realizing that the vehicle had become smarter, faster, and more capable than anyone had imagined. The CEO finally stepped forward, speaking quietly to himself. This is beyond anything I expected. He didn't just repair it, he improved it in ways I never imagined. Marcus heard the words but did not respond. He focused on the vehicle, knowing that the demonstration was not about proving the CEO wrong. It was about showing human potential. Marcus then activated a special feature he had designed, the environmental adaptation system. Sensors on the hovercar detected air currents, temperature changes, and potential hazards. The AI calculated responses in real time, adjusting engines and stabilizers automatically. The vehicle could now navigate unexpected conditions without input from Marcus. The crowd was amazed. This was not just repair or enhancement. It was innovation born from human creativity. Marcus decided to push the vehicle further. He guided the hovercar to a narrow vertical passage in the showroom. The AI calculated the perfect trajectory, adjusting hover and stabilizer balance. Marcus moved the vehicle through the passage with millimeter precision. The audience gasped. No standard hovercar could perform this maneuver without risking damage. Marcus had shown that careful planning, intelligence, and creativity could make the impossible possible. The CEO, now visibly humbled, took a step back. Marcus had not only repaired the vehicle, he had transformed it. Every movement, every calculation, every improvement reflected human skill at its finest. He realized that mocking someone based on background or appearance was not only unfair, was foolish. Talent, determination, and intelligence could not be ignored or underestimated. Marcus continued with a series of tests, designed to demonstrate endurance and reliability. The hovercar accelerated repeatedly, hovered for long periods, and executed complex maneuvers in succession. The engines remained stable, the stabilizers adjusted automatically, and the AI continued to learn and adapt. The crowd was silent in awe, watching human ingenuity manifest through technology. After the final maneuver, Marcus stopped the hovercar and stepped out. He approached the audience, calm and composed. Engineers and spectators applauded, inspired not only by the hovercar but by the skill and intelligence behind it. Marcus spoke clearly, sharing the principles of his work. Skill, determination, and creativity are the real tools, he said. Machines can follow instructions, but humans can see connections, adapt, and improve. The CEO, still standing in silence, finally spoke. "I underestimated you," he admitted. "You have shown me something important today. Talent and determination cannot be judged by appearance, background, or wealth. You have my respect." Marcus nodded, accepting the acknowledgement without pride. The work had been for demonstration and human potential, not for recognition or reward. Marcus returned to the hovercar and activated one final system: the colony defense simulation. Sensors on the vehicle detected potential hazards in the environment, and the AI calculated optimal responses. The hovercar moved automatically, avoiding obstacles, stabilizing itself, and responding faster than a human could. The audience watched in awe. They had never seen technology respond with such intelligence and adaptability. Marcus had shown them that human creativity could make machines not only functional, but extraordinary. The CEO, humbled and thoughtful, turned to the crowd. "We have all learned a lesson today," he said. "Talent, intelligence, and determination are more powerful than mockery, arrogance, or wealth. Marcus has shown us what humans can achieve when they refuse to be underestimated." The audience erupted into applause again, this time louder and more heartfelt. Marcus stepped back, feeling satisfaction but not arrogance. The hovercar had been restored, upgraded, and tested under conditions that demonstrated the full potential of human ingenuity. He had faced doubt, skepticism, and mockery, and turned them into admiration and respect. The vehicle was not just a machine, it was proof of what humans could achieve. As the day ended, Marcus looked out over the colony from the showroom windows. The stars were beginning to appear, twinkling above the city. He knew that this was only the beginning. Human skill, determination, and intelligence had triumphed today, and the future held even greater challenges. Marcus smiled quietly, proud not only of his work, but of the potential it represented. The hovercar remained in the showroom, a shining symbol of human creativity and perseverance. Marcus had transformed doubt into proof, mockery into admiration, and failure into extraordinary success. Engineers, students, and spectators left inspired, carrying with them the lesson that human ingenuity, skill, and determination could achieve anything. That evening, Marcus returned to his workshop to review the day's achievements. Every system had performed perfectly. Every improvement had worked as intended. The engines were stable, the stabilizers precise, and the AI responsive and adaptive. The hovercar was now more than a vehicle, it was a living example of human creativity in action. Marcus reflected on the CEO's reaction. He realized that arrogance often blinds people to potential, but talent and determination can never be hidden for long. He had shown the world that intelligence, skill, and perseverance mattered more than status, wealth, or appearances. The hovercar was a testament to human potential, and Marcus knew that the lessons learned today would inspire others for years to come. As the stars shone above the colony, Marcus looked forward to tomorrow. He would continue refining the hovercar, pushing its systems even further, and demonstrating the power of human ingenuity. The challenge had started as a simple test of repair, but it had become a demonstration of what humans could achieve when determination met skill. Marcus smiled, knowing that this was the essence of human achievement. Talent, patience, creativity, and perseverance had transformed a damaged vehicle into something extraordinary. The hovercar floated quietly in the showroom, engines humming, AI ready, and stabilizers balanced perfectly. Marcus had triumphed, not just over a machine, but over doubt and mockery. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, but Marcus was ready. Human ingenuity had triumphed today, and it would continue to shine in the days ahead. The hovercar was a symbol of that triumph, proof that skill, intelligence, and determination could turn the impossible into reality. The showroom was alive with anticipation. Word had spread that Marcus was ready for the final demonstration of the hovercar. Engineers, spectators, and journalists had gathered, eager to witness the culmination of skill, creativity, and determination. Everyone remembered how the CEO had mocked Marcus, believing the challenge was impossible. Today, the arrogance would meet reality. Marcus walked calmly to the hovercar, every step confident. He had spent countless hours repairing, upgrading, and perfecting every system. The engines were responsive, the AI was adaptive, and the stabilizers were flawless. This was not just a repair job. It was a demonstration of human ingenuity at its finest. Marcus took a deep breath and activated the systems. The hovercar's lights glowed, engines hummed with controlled power, and the AI interface came alive. The CEO, standing at the center of the showroom, glanced at Marcus and then at the hovercar. "I still cannot believe he managed this," he muttered quietly, shaking his head. "This should not be possible." The crowd was buzzing, the tension building. Everyone remembered the previous demonstrations, but today would go even further. Marcus had something special prepared. The first stage of the demonstration was a high-speed agility test. Marcus guided the hovercar along a complex course with narrow turns, rapid ascents, and tight vertical passages. Every movement was precise. The engines responded instantly. The stabilizers kept perfect balance. The AI predicted Marcus's intentions before he even moved the controls. The audience gasped as the vehicle twisted, turned, and hovered effortlessly through the course. Next, Marcus showcased endurance. He accelerated the hovercar repeatedly, performing complex maneuvers, sudden stops, and quick reversals. The engines maintained consistent power, the AI adapted continuously, and the stabilizers adjusted to every change. The hovercar remained flawless, proving that human ingenuity had turned a damaged vehicle into a masterpiece. Engineers in the audience nodded in awe, discussing the modifications Marcus had made. The CEO, still observing, began to realize the full scope of Marcus's achievement. He whispered to an assistant, "I underestimated him completely. He has not only repaired the vehicle, but improved it beyond anything I imagined." Marcus, focused on the hovercar, did not respond. He knew the demonstration was for everyone else, not the CEO. This was a lesson for all who had doubted the power of skill, determination, and creativity. Marcus then moved to the most daring part of the demonstration, the adaptive obstacle course. The AI had been programmed to respond to sudden changes, environmental hazards, and unpredictable conditions. Floating barriers appeared, simulating challenges that no ordinary hovercar could manage. The hovercar moved with fluidity and intelligence, adjusting engines, stabilizers, and power flow automatically. It weaved through the obstacles perfectly. Leaving the audience in awe, engineers whispered to each other, amazed by the sophistication of the system. "I've never seen anything like this," one said. "He didn't just repair it, he taught it to think, to adapt, to improve." Marcus nodded quietly, observing the performance. The hovercar responded flawlessly to every test. It was no longer a simple vehicle. It was a demonstration of what human creativity and determination could achieve. The CEO finally spoke, his voice trembling slightly. "Marcus, I owe you an apology. I mocked you, and I was wrong. You have shown the value of skill, intelligence, and hard work. Marcus turned to him calmly. "Thank you," he replied simply. This demonstration was never about proving someone wrong. It was about showing what humans can achieve when they combine knowledge with creativity and perseverance. Marcus then activated the final system, the colony simulation mode. Sensors on the hovercar scanned the environment, detecting potential hazards and calculating optimal responses. The vehicle navigated automatically, adjusting to sudden changes, avoiding obstacles, maintaining perfect stability. The audience watched in stunned silence. They had seen impressive technology before, but this level of intelligence and adaptability was beyond anything they had imagined. The CEO, now completely humbled, stepped forward. "I was wrong to mock you," he admitted. "Your talent and determination have surpassed all expectations. You have my full respect, and I hope others will learn from this example." Marcus nodded, his calm expression showing neither pride nor arrogance. The work had been its own reward. The recognition was secondary. The crowd erupted into applause, louder than ever. Engineers, spectators, and journalists celebrated Marcus's achievement. They had expected failure, but instead they witnessed human ingenuity at its highest level. The hovercar, once damaged and neglected, had become a symbol of skill, intelligence, and creativity. Marcus had transformed doubt into admiration and mockery into respect. Marcus then stepped onto a small platform next to the hovercar. "What you see today is the result of careful planning, knowledge, and perseverance," he said. "A machine is only as good as the person who works with it. Skill, creativity, and determination are the tools that turn challenges into achievements. Remember this when you face your own obstacles." The audience cheered again, inspired by his words. Next, Marcus demonstrated the hovercar's final feature, real-time problem solving. A series of unexpected obstacles were introduced to the course. The AI, guided by Marcus's programming, adapted instantly. Engines adjusted, stabilizers corrected, and the vehicle responded with perfect timing. The hovercar even predicted movements before they happened, demonstrating a level of intelligence that combined human creativity with advanced technology. Spectators whispered in amazement. "This is not just repair," one said. "This is innovation. He has created something beyond our understanding."
Ow.
Marcus smiled quietly, knowing that his work had proven the point. Human skill, intelligence, and creativity could achieve what others thought impossible. The CEO, observing quietly, finally spoke to the audience. "Let today be a lesson to all of us," he said. "Arrogance and mockery only blind us to talent. Marcus has shown that determination and creativity can surpass wealth, status, and doubt. We should all strive to recognize and encourage skill wherever we find it." The audience applauded. Inspired by the humility and acknowledgement of the CEO, Marcus then approached the hovercar one last time. He ran final diagnostics, ensuring that every system was ready for any challenge. The engines purred, the AI was responsive, and the stabilizers maintained perfect balance. The hovercar had been transformed from a broken vehicle into a masterpiece of human ingenuity. It was not just a machine, it was proof of what humans could achieve when determination met skill. As the day ended, Marcus looked out over the colony from the showroom windows. The stars began to shine above, twinkling like distant beacons of possibility. Marcus knew that the hovercar was more than a vehicle, it was a symbol of human potential. Every observer had seen firsthand that intelligence, creativity, and perseverance could overcome doubt and arrogance. The CEO approached Marcus once more. "You have my full respect," he said. "I hope this inspires others to recognize talent without prejudice. Today, you have shown the true power of human ingenuity." Marcus nodded, accepting the acknowledgement without pride. The work had been its own reward. But he was glad that others could see the value of skill and determination. The audience began to leave, inspired and motivated. Engineers discussed Marcus's methods, students dreamed of future innovations, and the citizens of the colony realized that talent and determination were the most powerful tools any human could possess. Marcus had turned a challenge into a lesson, showing that even the impossible could be achieved with skill and creativity. As the showroom emptied, Marcus returned to his workshop to reflect on the day. Every system had performed perfectly, every modification had worked as intended, and every demonstration had inspired others. The hovercar was ready for anything, testament to what humans could achieve when they refused to be underestimated. Marcus looked at the stars and smiled. The journey had started with a simple challenge, a test of repair and skill, but it had become something much greater. Human ingenuity had triumphed. Talent, patience, creativity, and perseverance had transformed a damaged machine into a symbol of possibility. He knew that tomorrow would bring new challenges. But Marcus was ready. The hovercar was proof that determination, intelligence, and creativity could overcome any obstacle. The CEO had learned a lesson. The audience had been inspired. The colony had witnessed human excellence in action. As the evening shadows lengthened, Marcus walked out of the workshop and gazed at the sky. He understood the lesson clearly. Talent and determination could not be mocked. Skill and intelligence were the true measure of greatness. The hovercar floated silently in the showroom, engines humming, AI ready, and stabilizers balanced perfectly. Marcus had earned respect, proven human potential, and left a legacy that would inspire the colony for years to come.